And here's another troubleshooting case for tracking down a low power problem, where instead of half of the module being gone, we're looking for an individual problem. In this case, we're going to look for some shading and its effect. Let's check out how we do that. We look at our conditions and our choices here. Indeed, we have green light steady and power greater than 0, so we're going to choose that choice. Now, is the power lower than expected? And remember, from our more info choice up here, if we read in carefully, we see that we expect roughly about 3,000 watts under our current conditions. And we're getting about 2860, so it's not half, but it's not 3,000. So indeed it is low enough for us to be suspicious. So is the power below? Yes. But is the power 1/2? This is our question to know whether we have an entire string that's something to look for. And indeed, no, it's not half. That'd be 1,500. So it's 2860 something. So we have both strings working, so it's not half. So we know that we're not looking for an entire string problem. So now we know that we're looking for an individual module or two or something like that. So that gets us thinking along those lines. So is the power 1/2? No. So we go down to the inverter. We turn off the DC safety switch to make it safe. And then we remove the cover. And we turn the DC power back on in order to make our measurements here. Notice that our power comes back on. Now up comes our multimeter, and it's already set for DC amps. And in the real world, you'd turn the knob so that it's set to DC amps. We're not going to use the probes to measure voltage. We're going to use the tip, the clamp-on tip, to measure current. And the idea is we want to figure out which one of our strings is low. They're both working, but we want to figure out which one's low. So I touch the tip, I move my phantom one over here, and I've got a couple of targets here. If I touch it on string 1 target and let go, I get 4.3 amps. And if I look over here in my more info note, that gives me a full explanation that you should read through. But basically, if we have 8 modules operating, we would get about 4.3 amps. Whereas if, for example, we were missing 1 module, that would be that power minus 1 module. So we'd get about 3.8, 3.9, something like that, an indication. And indeed, we're getting 4.3. So that indicates full current. So is that low? The answer is no. But now we check string 2. So I'm going to touch the tip of my clamp on, go over here to string 2, clamp on, and I get about 3.9. So indeed, it's operating, but it's lower than the 4.3, right? So I've identified my problem. My string 2 is the one that's low. And so that's where I'm going to investigate, is string 2. So I'm going to take my tip and put it back here. Don't have to, but I just like to. But is DC string 2 low? The answer is yes. So I teleport up to the roof, and I can see an issue. Okay, we say at the array. The first thing we do is look at to see string 2. Is it any module severely shaded or damaged? And remember, the top row was string 1, the bottom row is string 2. And we can indeed see that if we look around here, we've got 1 bad module, that's for sure. But we're looking around, we don't have any other modules that are cracked or broken or suspicious. But indeed, we have one that's pretty much mashed up. So that's causing some pretty severe shading and is reducing our output. So is there a severely shaded module in string 2? The answer is yes. Okay, fault found. Clean the soiled module. So I touch it. The orange was the target that you touched. I touched it, and it cleaned up the entire module. So now we have our clean array. Full output should be restored by doing that. So we've identified an individual module problem by identifying the current that was low in that string and then examining the string up at the array.
Hey, thanks for watching the training video using Interplay's simulation-based training program. You can keep watching our solar videos by clicking on the link to your left, or stay up to date on our latest solar snacks by subscribing on your right. To learn more about how the STP provides critical team training and helps you build an onboarding program at your company, please go to interplaylearning.com.